Howdy players, I thought we'd take a second to go through some of the production methods I used on my most recent single, The Book Club. This is very basic. I don't claim to be a great engineer. I just get it done when I'd like to be able to step up to bat. So most of the time I delegate these and then I come back to doing it myself. I kind of go back and forth on each project so I can slowly acquire some of those skills myself, but also I feel like I can better appreciate the folks that I'm delegating, mixing, mastering some of the engineering to. So let's first start by listening to the song. We'll see how we feel. Somebody killed the book club in the middle of chapter 6. I'm glossing over words for something I missed. Some folks finish quickly, some never read at all. I'm stuck in the middle of a paragraph with no one else to call. Chapters end, pages turn, some buy and some return. Pages tear, notes get left, some love and some regret. The book club came and went, time winking the spine. I'm praying that the author knows what I have on the line. I'm still reading. Cool, let's pause it about there. You can listen to the rest of the song online if you want to do that. But for this, let's just start going through some of the bits and pieces. One of the biggest parts of this I was, working to highlight is my effects buses. I use the Universal Audio stuff. I'm a big fan of this Pure Plate reverb. Let's see, yeah, that'll pop up for me. And this Galaxy Echo. I tend just to put those on everything. I especially love this vocal tunnel preset. I don't know, I've never really messed with the tape echo besides going through the presets, and this just tends to be my go-to for any vocal delay or anything that I really want to have a lasting effect. Then the Pure Plate's just kind of there to soften things up. So as we go through this, we start to look at the two guitar tracks. I have a condenser recording of it and then a DI. I tend to put a lot more of the second effect, the delay, on the DI just because it has a cleaner feel, but I think the reverb's better suited for what's capturing the room, the condenser mic, and then the delay has a lot more crispness that I'm going to use that delay on. So again, reverb on the condenser mic, delay on the DI. The vocal tends just to have a little bit of the reverb. I know a lot of other folks use more delay on vocals, and I love that effect. It's just not something that I'm great at right now. I think you probably need to make its own bus for that kind of a feel and really time it out. I was listening to a fella talk the other day about like a delay calculator and a reverb calculator you can get on your phone. I ain't that technical, but I will tell you I'm still trying to figure out how to automate hitting the bus so I can leave the bus open and let things kind of move within it. And let's see if we have any examples of that type of automation in here. I don't know how much of that I would have done, but okay, we have a latch on volume, latch on the mute, volume mute. Okay, so this AC guitar, you can see that there's one place where I kind of ducked out of the delay. I don't know what exactly I would have done that for, but it looks somewhat intentional. It might be a mistake. Let's listen to it. Oh, I shouldn't have had the loop on. Let's find that section again. Here we go. Left. Isolate that. So maybe it just got a little too washy there. I can't exactly remember my method for it, but there's a big bump there in the volume automation, which I think a lot of those kind of accessory, like the chord extensions that are going on there, are such a hard part of the arrangement that I wanted to make sure that popped through. This is my first time looking back, if you can't notice. Can't tell. Let's see, do I have that on any of these other sections? No. See, when I have bigger arrangements and there's effects I just want to apply in moments, I'll definitely come through and just boxy ass versions of automation and drop it in there. But I have gotten a lot more used to. Let me switch this bigger front cam. I've been using this X Touch to have some more manual faders. It's been so good for changing up how I do my automation and making things feel a lot more natural. I was talking to one of my mentors today, and he was saying once you get to that place where you've worked through all the editing, you've set most of your effects for how you like it, turn the screen off, mix with your ears. You never know what your eyes are telling you that your ears are not, and how deceptively that can play into your mixing. And I wouldn't say I'm there yet, but it's always great to be reminded of all the ways that we're kind of cheating ourselves of what the real intent is there. So as we start to go through, there's only two effects that we're going to be using: the delay and the reverb. Like I said, how those are kind of spaced out across the guitars. The DI guitar just has a very trancy, warbly feel with that delay, and that's why I love the vocal tunnel. I think it just sounds great, but it gives like a little bit of removal where I can be heavier handed on the reverb in the condenser mic, but it can still shine through pretty clearly. That reverb just adds some softness to it. Let's see what's going on. Not much EQ at all. Damn near flat. I just roll off some of the lows on these. Is that a summing bus for that? No, it's just for... I can't believe I didn't even put that in a track stack. So yeah, I'm just taking some of the low end out of there. Here's what it would sound like if we took that off. It's just a little too bassy. Probably took over a lot of what the kick was meant to be doing there, so we got it out of the way. So everything pretty much sends to those two buses, and I'll apply it as we need. I think the real star of the effects buses is going to be these bells, and I believe that I pitch shifted these. The song's going to be in F. Let's just listen to one of these isolated. Very subtle, very strong in the delay sound. Let's listen to it without the delay. Let's scroll up a little bit here. Probably just best I just mute those channels. And what did I use for that? Oh, I used a really heavy tremolo effect. I love having the tempo syncs on Logic. You know, I haven't really used any other DAWs besides that, but boy, is it effective just to put it on and try some things out. So I believe that bell set is in C. Then I used the pitch shift to move it up to the key that we're in, which is F. Let's see. Oh, maybe I'll just use this pitch shift. Yeah, down. When they say semitones, I don't know if they mean half steps or what, but we got there. We eventually found it. And then what else is on here? Compression. A lot of EQ, trying to get some of that nonsense out of there. I wonder what it would sound like without that EQ. It's been a second since I've heard any of these elements. Let's isolate this. Somebody killed the book. Doesn't seem like it sounds much different, so I don't know why I went through all that effort. One thing I'm starting to learn about EQ, and those of y'all that are professionals will definitely understand this better than I would, but anytime that you're EQing things out, you're just adding the inverse phase to try to dampen that thing, which will inherently add the color of the EQ that you're using. I think that most of your DAWs at this point are going to have pretty transparent EQs for what it is. It's not like old analog gear where a guy has like, you know, a 30-band PV piece in a rack that he's pulling things out. That probably has a lot more color than this. But still, there is something to be had. So I've had to learn the hard way that the more heavy-handed you are, the more you're going to add in these sonic qualities that it's just the byproduct. It wasn't the intended use. And you're probably going to be blind to it, but someone else isn't. They're going to notice that things feel artificial or they just feel colored by that. So I do love the way that these chimes played out. I probably could have gone without that huge low cut, but whatever. Let's listen through a little more. The BookClub in the middle of while we're here, I added this kick in. You know, I wanted to have minimal percussion on the song, but let's just listen to this section. I'll take out the shells for right now. And the shells just like looks like half a walnut. You know, big stack of them. I'm just dropping them into my hand as we're tracking that. Somebody killed the book club. So it's just a really moot push. It just feels like, and I wanted to have some type of crispness without having the attack of a kick drum. It just felt too, I don't know, too aggressive against that acoustic. So I decided to add just a little bit of the shells drop. Here's what it sounds like. Somebody killed the book club. And let's just isolate this too. And I like the way that it had kind of like a dispersed bit of attack. It wasn't one solid moment that I would have to kind of soften up with a reverb or anything like that. I could soften the shells. I think there's probably some verb on these. Let's see. Yeah, there's a little bit of reverb on the shells. Not too much, but just something to kind of make the kick more declarative while also keeping it way in the back, subtle, just a little bit easier on the ear. So let's keep going here. Killed the book club in the middle of chapter 6. I'm glossing over words for something I missed. Some folks finish quickly, and those bells are barely there. Just a little bit of ear candy to let you know where you're at. I'm stuck in the middle of a paragraph with no one else to call. Chapters and I don't even know if you could hear that bell right there, but there's only 3 notes on this bell set, and I used all of them in the initial track, and I ended up with just these 2. Very low simmer, barely in the mix. Turn, some buy and some return. And it's those kind of elements too where, by the time I turn on the mastering AI that we're going to get to later on, I had to let go of wanting to hear things rather than just saying, like, what is serving the song. You get so married to what you think is your own best work or the cool things you do. Like, your ego gets involved in what you think is best for the project versus what is best for the project. And obviously, there's no way to know that. But at the end of the day, these are kind of throwaway bits of the song. But it is ear candy when it works out. And when it doesn't, I'm not going to sit here and fight it for hours on end. Pages tear, notes give. As we got into that chorus, I wanted to have the shells be the one, but we still get that soft push. It has no face to it, has no attack. It's just that almost like a plosive on a mic kind of going on. Some love and some regret. Also, I forget what the key command is, and you all might not be Logic people, but there's a way to auto-cut all these and really tighten up just like the end of the audio file, which has saved me so much time. I used to do it on lead vocals a lot. Now I'm more in the place of just record a clean lead vocal in the moment where there's going to be bleed on the mic. It's like I can automate that out if it really feels like it's bothering it, but I'd rather not lose the tail end of words because I didn't set my threshold right and battle with that on end. So I'll do it with background vocals, like really tight, minor focus kind of things, but something as loud as the lead, it's like having a gate on a lead vocal in a live setting. It's like, it's just going to sound weird once you take it out of there. It's part of the flavor. It's part of the capture. Let's accept it. Like in a section like this where we have a lot of lead vocal hang. Some love and some regret. There's a little bit of click and there's a lot of gulp. Am I going to fight it? Not on something like this, which another thing about this song is it was meant just to be a quick production. It was something that I wanted to put out in between What's Gonna Stop Me and See Blue because I was struggling a little bit with See Blue. But again, I'm trying to let these be educational moments. When it's something that's precious to me, a song that I really believe in, let's get all the external help that we can. And then next time we step up to the bat, let's take something that maybe we're not as sentimental about and just get it out there. Learn the things that you admired from the last production. The guy who did the mix and master, Toby, on What's Gonna Stop Me, did some awesome work with some small auxiliary percussion things, like just learning how to add groove, to add rhythmic sensibility without being overbearing with too much production, too much nonsense. So I don't even know why I got on that. Oh, because of the gulping. Yeah, let's just ignore the gulping. It's there. I left. Oh, well. Let's hop back in. The book club came and went, time winking the spine. I'm praying that the author knows what I have on the line. I'm still reading. And I don't know how much y'all love it, but I really love how the bells play into the back of that phrase. And also letting off the kick during this post-hookish part of the section. Regardless how many layers you do or don't have, it's kind of like once you show your ceiling, once you show the fullest part of the arrangement, you have to play underneath it there so you don't bore people. And then you can push to the end of like the song and really start to show what all there is to have. But at this point, pulling off the kick helped drive them back to the vocal, start to soften things up for the verse, and leave some more room for the play of the bells, for the impact of the shells, for a variety of things. Also, when does a shaker appear? Okay, this shaker comes in. Chapters in. Really subtle. A lot of reverb to it. I drive myself crazy with messing up like buffer speeds and tracking a shaker to a click and making sure I get that loop right. You're never going to appreciate a drummer until you really sit down to do some of this shit and you find out how difficult it is to get clean quarter notes or to really get the right attack on the end of a shaker. And if you don't have to use loops online, don't use loops online, because your thumbprint is not the things that you do perfectly. Because if you did it perfectly, you'd be like every other guy that's spent his life learning how to do that shaker. It's the things that you mess up that are inherently the most you. Those happy little accidents within it, if you were going to be Bob Ross in this. So don't be afraid to let your let the things that you're, insufficient in define these chapters of your work, because you will look back and notice where you made growth. When I listened to my old EPs that we had done in Nashville and things like that, it sounds like someone else covering up for the things that I was incapable of. But when I do a production like this, it's very apparent to me. I'm a month out of the release, and I can listen to things and already tell you what I would want to change about it. But learning how to let go and to appreciate the things about the mix that are things I will do better next time, but not here. This has to be done. Those are things I love about it. And looking at this shaker, I can tell you, I beat my head against a wall to get it where it is, and it's still not that tight. C'est la vie. I'm still reading. I'm still reading. Somebody stole my bookmark. Who knows where I left off? I'm staring at the cover and I'm starting to wonder if I'd ever been this lost. One thing I'll tell you about these guitar sections here, and a piece of advice that I just got early enough on that I really think about when I'm tracking myself especially. If it involves a live mic in a room, you can't come back and do it again tomorrow. You have to do a whole new batch of takes at that point. Don't expect to get congruent feeling takes unless they're back to back to back. Go for it. Track 20 of them. Delete 15. Do another 20 of them. You need to do this while you're in the room, because trying to get this acoustic with the condenser mic to line back up the next day, trying to gauge my spacing on the mic and those things, it'll take a whole lot of duct tape and a whole lot of video to make sure it's right. It still probably won't be. So there's two sides of the coin. There's suffering for it in the moment and then accepting it the next day when you come back to edit these. Because you can torture yourself doing it over and over again. But today's tracking day, and I will suffer through 57 takes of this damn guitar part. And the next day, I will not go back and track more guitar. If I do, it's going to have to be another 57 takes. And now we're probably wasting time. Constraints do make the best art. It is the edge of your canvas, is your timeline. So go for it. And you can tell in these little moments all across this where I'm battling to get these parts to be similar volumes, or looking through the arrangement and saying, are take 2 and take 5 really going to work, or do I need to accept what I don't like about take 2 because none of these other ones have a similar feel as we go into it. Sometimes you're dragging, sometimes you're rushing, sometimes you have a different pick in hand. All those little changes are going to be really glaringly obvious on a condenser. Your DI, not so much. You get a little bit more play, but go for it on tracking day. Move on the next. That's all I got to say here. I say that after I ramble for a long ass time. Sorry, kids.
Staring at the cover and I'm starting to wonder if I'd ever been this lost. Some folks said they loved it, some said don't waste your time. I'm stuck in the middle of a paragraph, wonder what I came to find.
Here comes that crazy shaker again.
Chapters end.
Look at this shaker section really quick. I mean, this is the kind of stuff where it's like I went blue in the face because I have to add these crossovers. Because am I a fraction of a hair off there? Yep, just a little bit. And so I had to go in and manually correct these things. And sometimes you can find a key command that's going to do that for you. But if it sounds right, it is right. And if it sounds wrong, you have screwed up royally. And sometimes this living for the grid isn't going to give the demeanor that you wanted to have. Sometimes you just got to dive in and deal with the fact that you're going to fall off the grid or fall off the click. And that's part of the vibe. It kind of goes back to mixing with your ears and not your eyes. I can zoom in really far on these audio files and find things I don't like. But if I put the headphones on in a dark room, what do I care about? Let's keep moving.
Pages turn, some buy and some return. Pages turn, notes get left, some love and some regret.
So I think this is the part in the song where
The book club.
a similar thing happened here. I was looping that section of the kick drum. When I played this on a MIDI keyboard and quantized, I thought it's going to be simple. It's going to be no issues. Somehow there's still issues. But this is one of those happy accidents that during the first chorus, it just drives. Just easy chord notes, and then lets off a little bit. It's just on the one. Somehow this got mixed up, and we do like a bump on 1 and 3 or something. I wouldn't be able to count this to you if I tried right now. But you can feel the way that it accents the guitar part. And it took me a couple listens to even notice that it was there. And I remember asking the live stream. I had some folks that were sitting in the room kind of hanging out with me while I worked on this. And I just asked, like, is it something to fix or is it something to appreciate? And we left it for what it was. So let's listen to it again.
Some love and some regret. The book club.
It has a nice way of varying up.
Week.
Because chorus 1 and chorus 2 are going to feel like they're a matched pair, but we got to up the intensity or add some interest. Like, if your listener goes bored actively, you're out. But if they go bored passively too, like, you're kind of missing your chance to put another hook in them and hope for the best that they're going to get to the end of the song and want to go back through again.
In the spine, I'm praying that the other knows what I have on the line. I'm still reading.
It's hilarious how much this bell's meter even moves. I mean, they're so low in the mix,
I'm
but
still reading.
it did it for me. New shaker part. Let's do this.
My library cards
Yeah.
have been good standing, but that don't seem to solve the
That right there is actually my favorite shaker I own. It's this gigantic orange that came with like a children's set. It sounds awesome.
landing when I came crashing back into my own world. My library.
We also get some variants in the bells here. It's very odd. In that first phrase, you can kind of hear what it used to be. It was all 3 bells, and they'd all kind of simmer on the same. So I'm glad that we pulled it apart, but there's some odd artifacts in there that maybe I could have gone through and combed through a bit more. I like it. Whatever.
Library cards have been good standing, but that don't seem to solve the landing when I came crashing back into my own world. My strawberry cards and finger standing, but that don't seem to solve no landing when I came crashing back into my own world.
Before we go into this last section, also the way that reverb fell apart was hilarious. I don't know why that was funny, but it was weird. Didn't sound great. Um, what we call a hook tends to mean the chorus, but there's like an interesting evaluation to be had in the way that, like, you put your song on TikTok and you think it's gonna be the chorus that people are gonna make videos to, and it might be the bridge, because the bridge has more resonance to the listener. You as the songwriter, me as the songwriter, we don't get to decide what means something from the material. You can work on it, you can tell them what it means to you, but that has little to no relevance to the consumer, who has as much possession of this thing as you do. It's just vibrations in the air, and they'll tell you what they care for in this. So what might be defined as the chorus in this song, I wouldn't call the hook. I think the first line is the hook. And when I was finishing this up, I wondered, what do I want to do after the bridge? Do I want to go back to the chorus? Do I want to have another verse then a chorus? And I ended up, just as a throwaway in a live moment, going back to the first two stanzas, or the first stanza of verse 1, that somebody killed the book club in the middle of chapter 6, which I just think is the most interesting line of the whole song. Like, that's the most, that's the one that it came to me with. That was the gift. And I really don't think we're responsible for the things we write in a lot of ways. It's not your brilliance, it's the brilliance of the inspiration and the muse and why ever. So when that line landed, it was the song. So it was, to me, what would take the song out. So here's the end.
Somebody killed the book club in the middle of chapter 6. I'm glossing over words, there's something I missed.
And it's that warble that comes with the vocal tunnel that I really love about that effect. I don't know that I advise someone to go the universal audio route at this point in time. I think it's a lot to get into, and it's a very expensive way to do the home production stuff, but it's been very good to me. So I'm going to close things up there. Thank you so much if you watched this whole thing. I hope you found it interesting. Drop some love in the comments. Shoot me any questions that you have in a message, in the comments, whatever you prefer. And thanks for listening. It means the world, and I hope that you feel the same encouragement I do to embrace the things that you're still learning, amidst your passions, the things you feel called to do, and I hope you make something beautiful with it. So, peace, my friends. Have a great one.